Hi everyone, it's me, Lubna. Today is Monday, June 26th, 2023. And again, this video is dedicated to my loved one who always motivates me and encourages me and supports me in all of my endeavors, including my making videos. It really means a lot to me to have your support and your love and encouragement every single day. So the topic of today's video is going to be about keeping a record of the daily occurrences of your life. Over a year ago, when I first started making these video diaries, I made a video and it was about why I keep a diary. And over the past year, I feel as though I've grown a lot, definitely. And I just wanted to add to that video and talk a little bit more about why it's important to keep a record of your life. So I'd like to get started by reading out loud my journal entry for today, and that's my journal entry. Now let me go ahead and read it out loud to you right now. Monday, June 26th, 2023. See enough and write it down, I tell myself. And then some morning, when the world seems drained of wonder, someday when I'm going through the motions of doing what I am supposed to do, on that bankrupt morning, I will simply open my notebook and there it will all be, a forgotten account with accumulated interest, paid passage back to the world out there. It all comes back. Remember what it is to be me. And that entire quote is by the author Joan Didion. Everything that happens in your life is significant, whether or not it is immediately apparent to you. When you keep a record of the events of your life, you are able to look back and recognize how one thing leads to another. We understand ourselves better in retrospect. So I wanted to emphasize a couple of points from that entire journal entry that I want to talk a little bit more about. First of all, I wanted to mention Joan Didion, the author. When I was in college as an undergrad student at Columbia University, I remember we had to read a book by Joan Didion. I think it was called Blue Night or Blue Nights, and it was for a class about aging and the welfare state of America that I had to take that, read that for. And I remember her writing was very emotional. I actually started crying when I was reading that book. She was talking about the death of a family member in that book. And with the idea of death, I wanted to talk about how things always change in our life, and the people that we know are not always going to be with us. For example, when I was, before starting medical school, I was living in California. I was living at home and just enjoying being at home for a little bit before I had to move and head off to medical school. And I remember, because I wrote this down in my diary at the time, one day something very simple, just my mom cooked something for me and brought it to me in my room, in my study room. And it's just something very little, but and most of us would just take something like that for granted. But I had the inclination to just write about that in my diary, so I wrote a couple of lines about that. And about a year later, I got scared that I would lose my mom because of a health issue. And because of that, those two lines meant all the more much to me when I reread them, when I went back in my old diaries and reread those lines. And in that quote by Joan Didion, she said, there it will all be, a forgotten account with accumulated interest. That phrase, accumulated interest, means that when you write things down, when you make memories, they accumulate interest in a metaphorical sense, which means that they gain value and gain worth over time as things change and you grow more distant from that period in your life. I definitely feel that way when I reread parts of my journals from when I was 22, 23, 24, 25, and even 26, because my life has changed a lot from year to year in my 20s. I'm 27 now, by the way. And when I look back and read all of those parts of my journals, it's actually pretty interesting to see how the events of my life connect, and if one thing had not happened, my life would have been completely different right now. And that's a very interesting feeling, to be able to look back and like understand your life better when you read about how you felt and the things you went through. So I hope that's enough encouragement and justification for making the effort to write a little bit about your life every single day, maybe at the end of the day before you go to sleep. That's what I do. In addition to sharing this journal of my thoughts, this daily video diary, I do have a main journal where I write about the events of my life, and that one is private and it belongs to me. And sometimes I have this dream that one day I'll publish like many pages from my journals, and other people will understand my life and know what it was like to be me and to live my life. And I just want to keep doing that until the day I die, or as long as I can, as long as I have the ability to write things down, and as long as my brain is healthy and functioning. With that, I want to encourage you to value your life, value your days, value every little thing that happens, because it's much more significant, and it grows in significance with time, even more as you grow more distant from those little memories. The little things matter whole lot more than you think they do at the time when you experience them. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to my video. And I hope you keep a record of your life, because your life matters, and everyone's life is unique, and the events of everyone's life are a story to be told. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to my video, and I hope you have a great and wonderful day, afternoon, evening, or whatever it is, wherever you are in the world.